Hello, everybody. This is Gebo the Shaman, and today I am going to attempt to channel one of my ET friends or light being friends, whatever you want to call them, whatever label you want to put on them for your understanding. That's okay. So yeah, I'm going to try to channel one of these higher dimensional beings, and this is the first time that I've done anything like this, so it's a new experience for me. Have some patience for me because what I understand channeling to be is essentially I go up into that higher 5D realm and I'm having a conversation with a being, and I then have to translate what that being is saying to you guys. So there is a filter that it goes through. So just putting that out there. So I don't know if I'm gonna upload this or not, but there it is. I am very new to this, so alright guys, let's get into it. I've already went up there and said hello to him and asked this being to if I can channel him. So here we go. Hello, sir. How are you? He says he's doing very well. Uh, what is your name? What can we call you? And can you tell us who you are? And I'm not getting a clear message of his name, but he says that he is his role or his title is he is a priest upon that is residing in Jupiter. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you so much. All right. And is there any message that you would like to give to humanity at this time? He says, he says, have patience. He says, you're going through a process, a metamorphosis, like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly is what I'm getting the vision of. And he says that this process is, we're in the middle of this process of shifting up and having an evolution of humanity. And he says that we must be patient, that we must, he said it's suggested that we relax into the energies. He says that our emotions are rising there's going to be more emotional intensity, more conflict, more more traumatic things before the earth shifts. But these are all man-made problems. He says, just sit back and watch the show. Don't get emotionally involved in it. Don't get tied up with it, like the tabloids, you know. Some of these things may be very alarming to humanity. Maybe extinction level scares. However, he's saying we beings of light love humanity, and we are helping you and protecting you and giving enlightenment to humanity, whether we realize it consciously or not. He says there's been many changes to our frequency to evolve us into, you know, the 5D. And that some of us have been in resistance to these shifts and these changes in the energy. He says there's a lot of energy coming from the sun at this time, and 2025 will see more solar activities. And he says your Mahadeva, which I know who that is, essentially that Michael William Denney, Thunder Wizard on YouTube, he is the one that is leading the charge, if you will, in making these shifts, in sending energy from the galactic center, from the center of the Milky Way into the sun with mantras and with powerful energy meditations. And he's inviting more of us to do that. So he says, you know, that's one of the most powerful practices, is to go to the center of the Milky Way galaxy and to pour in energy that will transport to the sun and then be blasted out into Earth. Okay, great. Thank you. So, this is me now, Gabo. So, sir, I'm trying to think of a good question. So, what can we be doing in the meantime to prepare for these energetic shifts in Earth and in humanity? He says prayer, meditation, energy practices, he says these things will lift humanity up to the next level if more and more humans decide to partake willingly in spiritual practices. He says anytime that we pray, the higher dimensional beings, the light beings, the higher dimensional beings and the light beings, they hear our prayers, they hear our cries out for help, they are with us. But until we, until we raise our frequency to the proper level, we will have a very minimal contact and understanding of them and their role with us. He says that meditation, especially the meditation that Mahadeva or Thunder Wizard teaches, is profoundly helpful to raising the frequency, the energy, and the vibration of all humans and of the earth. And there's just a lot of loving energy flowing, and like I can feel it. I can feel it really intensely in my body. There's a lot of loving, blissful energy. And he says that all light beings have an incredible, intense love for humanity. He says you are our brothers and sisters. You are family. He says you are incredibly brave for incarnating in 3D Earth. For choosing this struggle. For choosing hardship. It says we're brave, incredibly brave, for taking ourselves on this soul journey, this essentially putting ourselves in a pressure cooker so that our souls can expand and grow and, become like diamonds, It's time and pressure that really forms a diamond in coal. And that's essentially what we're doing with our soul. We are powering it up by experiencing this earth and choosing, once again, to have psychological awareness and and choose to do specifically the right things in our lives. Choosing the right course of action, even though it might be difficult. So he's sending a whole bunch of loving energy my way, which really feels good and overwhelming at the same time. All right. And he says, specifically to me, he says, Vincent, we are so proud of you. You have come such a long way. He says, I and we remember you just a few years ago. And even in your childhood, when things were very rough for you. He says that they were there in the room. He says we were there in the room with you. When you were experiencing your toughest moments in this incarnation. And also during your evolution to this stage. He says that they're just so proud of me and how far I've come. He says, you know, doing your 12 steps and taking the responsibility that you took over your life and what you can control over it is brave and heroic. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. Oh. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'd like to return to humanity and talking about the collective. Yeah, here's a random question that I just thought of. What is this drone situation? So we have in New Jersey, we have drones, and they're kind of in the sky. They're kind of freaking people out. They're flying low, and I'm sure you know about them, since nothing is a surprise to you. He's smiling and nodding. He says, the drones are, if you really want to know, they are involved with some bad actors. They are the the doing of some really dark forces of humanity. He's like, he says, I know many of your viewers may be wondering if they are the United States government's or if they are another government's. Are they human-made or alien-made or ET-made? He says, I can assure you these are merely distractions. They are tools of fright to cause fear, to cause panic, to keep people in a lower, frightened, vulnerable state. They are used to panic people, to scare people, and by that fact alone, I can tell you they are not ours. We would not do such a thing to humanity, to our brothers and sisters, to our family. He says we are full of love for humanity. We love humanity. We care about humanity. So he says, pay no attention to the drones. They're merely a distraction to keep people in those lower frequencies, those lower emotions, in fear and fright. He says the dark force elites are frightened because the earth is ascending and there's nothing they can do about it. They have lost all power. They have lost all control. And now humanity will be set free. It is time for humanity to ascend. You are far past your due date. We had wanted to make this change in frequency earlier in your human years. However, you were, to say, stuck in the cycle of fear and control and, the elites were suppressing much technology that will now be released and revealed to humanity. There will be nothing that can stop this change. And my advice for humanity is merely to relax into the bliss, relax into the joy, relax into these solar waves of love that are hitting Earth. They are changing your junk DNA. They are evolving and changing your body's frequency. This evolution will not only be a spiritual one, a spiritual evolution, but it will also be a physical evolution. The new Earth you will all experience with your physical bodies. You will all create your own frequency eventually, your own world, your own universe, if you so choose. You humans are gods. You humans are powerful beyond your imagination. It is this frequency shift that is aligning you with your godhood. Again, we are so proud of all humans who are choosing to raise the vibration, raise the frequency of Earth. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, and let me think of another question for you. I'm still thinking. What is your advice or message to those people who have experienced a lot of trauma in their lives, a lot of negativity, a lot of abuse, a lot of neglect? He's disturbed by that. He is very sad for humanity. He is shedding a tear. He says, of course we don't want that. He says, it is a great shame that our family has to endure that and put that on each other. You know? He says, Earth is a traumatic place. He says, unfortunately, there are no perfect people. And that sometimes leads to people hurting other people. He says, we have love for all of humanity, and it brings us great sorrow to know that some of you have experienced horrific things in this life. He also says, we also know that your souls have chosen the life that you live. He says, the people around you, you have shared many lifetimes with, and yet there still lies unresolved karma, unresolved unresolved drama and issues and pain. He says some of you are even disabled in one way or another, and that can be traumatic within itself. And yet, you are loved beyond anything, and even though you have experienced horrible things in your past, some of you, it's the human spirit lives on and fights on. You fight for your future. You fight for what you want in life. You fight to overcome difficult emotions, difficult biological setbacks. It is this fighting human spirit. It is this pressure, this difficulty in life that is essentially like the tension on the slingshot. You know, he's showing me like the slingshot. The more you pull it back, the more trauma you feel. When you release it, that propels it into the stars. And he's saying that's like the vision. That's like the what we are essentially doing. It is through hardship we're overcoming, and we're actually healing a lot of stuff within us, of like emotional pain and trauma and things like that. He says, on the bright side, you will never have to experience pain, trauma, hurt, guilt, resentment, sadness, fear, or anything to the negative extremes again after this shift. He says, certainly there are those among you that will choose to indulge in the fear, would choose to indulge in the pain and the suffering. He's like, but yet again, that is a choice. Nobody is making you do that. So, he says, in these coming years, your frequency and your intention will determine what your outcome. If you want to live in a world of peace, of unity, of kindness, then intend that and choose to rise to that frequency. He says, we are coming upon a great shift in consciousness, a great frequency shift. But yet, we will not interrupt your free will. You must choose the awakening. You must choose consciousness. You must choose love and kindness and bliss. He says, we will not interrupt with your free will. It must be your choice. He says, and some of you will choose to react from your trauma response. And some of you, others, will choose to act and take contrary action from everything that they've been taught in their incarnations. So, he says, it's your choice. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Let me think of another question. Let me first check my time here. Make sure we're crazy with the time. 40 minutes, so it's good. So, I just set this like that. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm messing with the stuff here. So, alright, so the last question that I have for you, sir, is, well, there's two questions. First, I'll ask you, as a Jupiterian priest, what is your job? What is your role? What do you do? He says, I am a priest that resides on Jupiter. He says, I perform... Sorry, guys. He says, I perform rituals and intercede on behalf of the earth, to the gods. He says that he has dedicated himself to providing spiritual power to human beings if and when they ask for it. And he said, you all are welcome on Jupiter. Whenever you decide to go up there, he will meet with you and help you to gain spiritual power. Oh, that's wonderful. That's very generous, sir. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your job? He says, he says, I am totally committed to the spiritual growth and progress of humans. He says, my every waking hour is spent on how can I empower humans? How can I connect with them? How can I help them? How can I, empower them with this spiritual energy? How can I rise their consciousness and their vibration? So he is really just bent on empowering humans and teaching them and interceding, like doing rituals and helping them. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And Jupiter is the guru, the priest, the teacher, Yeah. So he says he also worships Jupiter and does a lot of work with Jupiterian energy and things like that. So that's very cool. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you. And the other question I was going to ask, let's see here. What else? Lost the question. I totally lost that question. Let me see here if I can remember. He says, so my question to him was, what, sorry, I'm blanking. That's okay. he says like, he gives an open invitation to all of us to go visit him whenever we'd like. And it's he says it's as simple as envisioning yourself rising up out of your heart center, rising up through your roof, seeing your city, like as you ascend into the heavens, seeing your state, seeing your country, your continent, and then rising up past the atmosphere, the barrier that separates 3D and 5D. And then he says you can ask your guide to direct you to Jupiter. And he says, I'll be here waiting for you. So, and then the other thing that I was gonna ask him is, how can humans act more consciously and in a more loving way, without the old programming of survival and fear and self-preservation getting in the way of our ability to act in a loving manner towards others. And he says, patience. He says this doesn't come overnight. He's like, love yourselves. Each and every one of you are lovable. Each and every one of you are very powerful. Each and every one of you, when you step into this new frequency, you will have everything that you need and everything that you want. There will be no competition. There will be no jealousy. There will be no better than or less than. In that frequency, we are all family. We are all brothers and sisters. So, in the meantime, be patient with yourself. It does take a while for these frequencies to take hold. And also it has to be your choice to ascend and raise your frequency. So while many of you are operating in a less conscious way, a less kind way with many of your brothers and sisters in this frequency, he's like, um, it's kind of a complicated message. He's like saying, don't worry about it. And then he's saying, like, you know, saying this is just, you know, I'm kind of struggling with he's saying, like, people make mistakes, but it's not that big of a deal. People mess up. People, do stupid stuff. He's like, just relax. Just don't worry about it. This reality right now is a video game. Is a, you know, um, simulation, if you will. So I guess. And he's saying, you know, saying, of course we don't want to be awful to people or to intentionally hurt someone. But he says, but we all, humans have their own unconscious, unconscious, like narratives and stereotypes and unconscious prejudices against others, whether it be, race, skin type, or whatever. Or it could be, a variety of things. Um, sex, race, whatever. Gen, yeah. And so, it's like, so, whether you react unconsciously or not, you know, he's like, he's really taking it lightly. He's like, this is just a video game. He's like, so, you're, it's like, just forgive yourself. Is like that it's this is part of being human. And this is also, guys, something that I personally have struggled with, which is like, if I mess up, if I act unconsciously, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm such a bad person. But he's like telling me, okay, well, it's not, it's just, this is just a game. This is just, of course nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings, but sometimes we do react and act out unconsciously. So, he's like, patience. Give yourself some grace. So, sorry guys, I'm still a bit under the weather here. But yeah, I mean, he's basically saying, like, don't worry about it. He also said in old Germanic myths, this is what they would call Hela. Hela would take souls or people, after they were passed away. If they felt like they needed to beat themselves up and live in their own personal hell, she would lovingly sit there with them until they were done beating themselves up. And then they would go back, back to, I guess, Valhalla or something like that. I don't know exactly which world, but yeah, he's like bringing that to my attention. Like, like everyone messes up. It's just don't beat yourself up over it. And for me personally, that's what I tend to do, is beat myself up over it. Overthink and things like that. So, all right. Well, my priest friend, my Jupiterian priest friend, thank you so much for chatting with me and my viewers. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, I'm ready to go to bed. So thank you for everything. And I will end it. And he says thank you. He says how honored he is to have the privilege to speak with us, and that he loves all of humanity very much. And he is excited to see the changes that come with our new frequency. So yeah, thank you guys. Alright, so that's that. I will go cry in my room now. Just kidding. But wow, that I felt a lot of energy there with his personal message to me. That was powerful. So anyway, guys, I love you guys. We'll see if I upload this. I'm kind of iffy on it. It got pretty personal there for a while, so I'm not sure. Alright, guys. I love you all, and we will see you next time. And go check out my website, gebotheshaman.com. And yeah, peace. We'll turn this off. Bye-bye, guys.